Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Lose Weight by Eating podcast. I'm your host, Audrey Johns, and this week I have got something new and different for you. I'm calling it the Eat at Home Challenge, but I kind of want to talk about food and how we have started eating out over the years and what it's actually done to weight here in the United States as a whole. And I have to assume that for anyone listening in other countries, it's probably very similar. But I did find it easiest just to kind of look up where I'm at and what I understand best. So I would really love any of your feedback if you have questions or if you have, corrections, because perhaps, in the UK it's different, or in Canada it's different, or wherever you're at. So the first thing I wanted to really bring up is that eating at home can help you lose weight. Eating at home can also save you money. And I understand and I appreciate that going out to eat is a very social activity, right? And with the weather getting nice and warmer, we're going to want to go out more often. And don't worry, I have your back. I have some other ideas to enjoy that social aspect of eating out. But before I lose half of you where you're like, no, I'm not going to stop eating out, I want to first discuss weight gain over the years and how eating out is likely the problem. There are some other problem foods that we will definitely discuss, but I did a ton of research this morning before I came to all of you to record, and I was shocked that the obesity rates have tripled in the last 60 years here in the US. I'm going to say that again. Obesity rates have tripled since 1940. I've got lots of resources. This is from USA Facts. From another source, Restaurant Engine, in the 1950s, eating out started to become a thing in the US. I actually had to look it up. Clearly, I did not know. I was born in 1980, so I had to do a lot of research on this. And I also didn't just kind of want to give you an opinion. I wanted to give you resources so that you can really understand this. And where it really came from was, I don't think that carbs are the problem. I think that eating out and eating processed foods are the problem. So I dug a little bit deeper. I wanted to find out what was an average daily meal in the 1940s. And I pulled breakfasts, lunches, and dinners. I used Good Housekeeping cookbooks as a source, and not like the physical ones. I was looking up sources online, and then they quoted Good Housekeeping. So the average breakfast in the 1940s was one fruit. Strawberries and grapefruits were really high up there on the list. One protein, which was typically eggs, an omelet, or bacon, and one carb. I'm going to say it again, one carb. Toast or an English muffin. I was kind of surprised to see on there. Perhaps people are making them at home, can make them at home. I have a recipe on the Lose Weight by Eating website. So the average breakfast had fruit, protein, and carbs. Two of these items people genuinely think are the problem right now: the fruit and the carbs. Next, lunches. The typical 1940s lunches were sandwiches with real bread, one fruit. Peaches and grapes seem to be really high up on that. And this one's going to be surprising, one dessert. They were always having desserts after lunch. The most popular ones were brownies and cookies. And then, do you see where I'm going with this? There's carbs and sugar at breakfast. There's carbs and sugar at lunch. So a typical dinner in the 1940s consisted of one meat. No surprise here, meatloaf was at the top of the list. Sausages and fish were also up there. Mashed potatoes, again, not surprisingly, or some kind of starch that was similar. Mashed potatoes are really low cost, so I have to assume that that was a big piece of it. A salad was really big on every single list. So there were radish salads, coleslaws, lettuce-based salads, cucumber-based salads. There was always some kind of salad. There was also a veggie, which I was shocked and happy to see. Brussels sprouts were at the top of the list, as were broccoli, and some type of bread. Bread was always on the list. So either it was a cornbread, or it was a sliced bread, or it was a baguette. This is what people ate in the 1940s. And let's not forget, they always had dessert. So let's go back and look at this. For breakfast, they always had a carb, they always had a protein, and they always had a fruit. For lunch, they always had a carb, they always had a fruit, and they always had a dessert. I'm assuming with the sandwiches, there were likely meat in them, but we can also think maybe a peanut butter and jelly sandwich might have been on there as well. And then for dinners, 1 meat, 2 carbs, 2, a starch and a bread, and then 2 vegetables, a salad and a vegetable, and then dessert. So I kind of want to really talk about these common denominators. So they had carbs with every single meal. These were generally carbs that were made at home. So I do know that sliced bread was available then, but it was very expensive in comparison to making it at home. So it was probably more likely that the bulk of the carbs that were being eaten were made at home. This was also before processed foods became such a big thing. So yes, perhaps they were ordering or purchasing their carbs at stores, but they were not packed full of preservatives. They were not shy about fruit and sugar back in the 1940s, and they had very balanced plates. So what you're all probably wondering, and I was definitely wondering, what are the average weights of men and women in the 1940s and now? And I pulled all this information off the internet. Some of the numbers were slightly different, but they were all within maybe 3 pounds of each other. So in the 1940s, the average weight of a woman was 134 pounds. This was them eating carbs, eating sugars. The average weight of a woman now is 171 pounds. I'm going to say that again because even I was shocked. The average weight of a woman in 1940, eating carbs, eating sugar, but eating at home mostly because eating out wasn't a big thing. The average weight of women in the 1940s was 134 pounds. The average weight of women today is 171 pounds. For men, it's pretty shocking as well. In 1940, the average weight of a man was 166 pounds. The average weight of a man is 199 pounds now. So I really want to kind of hammer this home. These people were significantly lighter. They were eating carbs with every single meal. They were eating sugar with every single meal. So to me, when I look at all of this as a whole, I can see it so clearly. Carbs and sugar are not the problem. It's eating out, and what we're going to get to next, convenience foods. So, as I noted, there are likely other reasons for weight gain. No doubt, there might even be some on here that I have not included. So, in the 1940s, convenience food became popular. So, they were just starting to come out while everyone was at a really healthy weight. In the 1940s, Cheetos, Pillsbury, and M&Ms all came out. Dairy Queen and McDonald's also started in the 1940s. Highly processed foods like high fructose corn syrup, hydrogenated oils, modified corn starches all became a thing in the 1940s. And in the 1950s, diet sodas, sweet and low, Cheese Whiz, and TV dinners hit the market. So you kind of see like there's a lot more to this than just eat at home and go ahead and have your carbs. Convenience foods and eating out becoming such a big thing in the late 1940s and early 1950s were a big chunk of why as women, our average weight went from 134 up to 171. And for men, average weight 166 up to 199. Now, I am not a scientist. So, of course, my research could be flawed. But I wanted to explain all of this to you. And I almost called this podcast episode Carbs Aren't the Problem. But I find that that would likely just make a lot of people skip this podcast episode, that is. So I wanted to create a challenge for all of you. If you just want to take the information and sit on it and think about it, that's great. But I do want to give you a challenge. It's my eating in challenge. And this only works if you don't buy fake foods. So you're going to want to purchase ingredients like we would have back in the 1940s, not convenience foods, as we started to do in the late 1940s, early 1950s. So what I mean by ingredients instead of convenience foods. So what do I mean by ingredients and not fake foods? I'm going to scroll back in my notes here. If you're watching me, I know I'm not staring at the camera. I've got a ton of notes here and I really want to be clear and I want to give you all of the information. So ingredients and not convenience foods. Let's discuss again what the average daily breakfast would have been in the 1940s. Fruit, strawberries, that's an ingredient. Protein, eggs, that's an ingredient. And carbs, English muffins. I will definitely put a link down below for my low-calorie English muffins that you can make at home that are all natural, or even just some whole grain toast would be great. I really do recommend either going to a Trader Joe's or getting it out of the freezer section, making sure that there are no processed ingredients in there. And by that, I mean, any preservatives or fake sugars or any of that. But these are ingredients. What would be a convenience food? One of those frozen, you go down the breakfast aisle in the freezer section and you pick out those little sandwiches that are already pre-made for you. Are they convenient? Yes. Are they cheap? Yes, because they're full of fake food. So let's talk about lunches now. Ingredients versus fake foods. So sandwiches with real bread. We just talked about the bread. Of course, you can make your own. I have several recipes on the website, including a low-calorie, high-protein, all-natural bread. So if you still want your protein. I really love getting either the deli meat at the deli. So they're slicing it right there. I know it's the highest quality I can get. Or honestly, I just really love to make extra chicken at dinner time, and then I will make maybe a chicken salad to put on my bread for lunch the next day. These are all ingredients. One fruit, a peach, that's an ingredient. And one dessert. Okay, this one is not an ingredient, but you can absolutely make brownies out of flour, eggs, Greek yogurt. If you try mine, they're really healthy, and chocolate. And I believe that there might also be some applesauce in there. So we're going to be trying to purchase ingredients, not convenience foods. If you want to plan to eat at home, that might not always work, right? You're thinking, wait, Audrey, I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm out of the door by 6 a.m. I don't get home until 6 p.m. There are so many of us that live that life. You can meal prep and take to work with you your lunches and even your breakfasts. You can also just do a smoothie for breakfast. I recommend what I've been having every morning for breakfast. I add a little bit of uncooked oatmeal, about a tablespoon, maybe two tablespoons of peanut butter, because I really love it, one frozen banana, and a really big handful of baby spinach. That gets me my protein, my carb, and my fruit. So there's lots and lots of smoothie recipes on the Lose Weight by Eating website as well. So I recommend try to prepare all of your food at home. You might not be able to eat it all at home, but try to prepare and just try it for 1 week and see how you feel. Now, with all of that said, I know that eating out is such a social activity and I love it. And I get that we don't want to give that up. So with that said, this eating in challenge, you get to eat out one meal a week. So you get to go to your favorite restaurant to get your favorite food. If it's a burger, fine. If it's a salad, even better. If it's a drive-through, please don't do that to yourself. Please try to just splurge a little bit more and get a burger made at a restaurant that is Whole Foods, right? So, some social ideas. Since you're not going to be eating out for a full week outside of one meal, you could invite your friends over for brunch, ask everybody to bring something. So easy, so fun. You could do Taco Tuesday at your house and invite all your friends over or family, or do a barbecue. The weather has been so nice. Or if you have a lovely patio or backyard, invite your friends over just to have some drinks, even if it's just iced tea or if it's some white wine, whatever you prefer. But I feel like that social aspect, I don't want you to feel like you have to give it up to eat healthy. I want to also remind you that meal prepping lunches and breakfasts as needed can really help you be successful in this. And you can find all kinds of meal plans and recipes on the Lose Weight by Eating website. So since you get to go out once a week on this eating in challenge, I want you to do your best to make it count and eat as healthy as you can within reason. Now, if you like to have a splurge meal once a week, knock yourself out. Go have that burger and fries and milkshake. I see nothing wrong with that. If you're eating it and you're eating healthy all week long, one meal, that's just fine. But do try to stay away from the fast foods because as I noted earlier, in the late 1940s and early 1950s, that's when fast food hit the market, and that's when our weight all started to increase. And I also recommend that you make desserts at home because you're going to have cravings. For me, I live walking distance from this adorable little ice cream place. They make all of their ice cream in-house. Some of it even has alcohol in it, which can be really fun. And it's always changing. And it's hard for me not just to walk over there whenever I want a sweet treat. So I recommend either make some low-calorie brownies or cookies or ice cream, which I have all of these recipes on the Lose Weight by Eating website. I'll make sure to put some links in the show notes. Or my go-to favorite dessert lately has just been grapes or a pear. The pears have been so good lately. And I find that the more that you eat the vegetables, and I take that back, the fruits as your dessert, the more I find that they get sweeter and sweeter as I eat them. So, first day having grapes, it might not be very satisfying. Fifth day having grapes for a treat is very satisfying because you're not having that sugar. You're having the all natural sugar, and your palate just naturally becomes more balanced. If you're not a sweet tooth person like I am, make the salty snacks at home. Dips with veggie sticks, homemade crackers. You can do all of this stuff at home in an all-natural way using ingredients instead of convenience foods. And there is lots of help out there for you, not just with my recipes. If you're aware, I run 2 podcasts, this one and the Who's Reality Cooking podcast. And I made friends with Christina Miros. She was on the most recent season of Next Level Chef, and she made it to the finals. She's amazing. And we follow each other on Instagram. And last night she said she was going to start this challenge on her own of posting, like, I think it was like, "You've already got food at home, lady," or something cute like that, where it was "Stop going out, eat at home." And so every single night she is posting recipes that she just kind of scrounged from what she had in her home. So check her out on Instagram. I'll make sure to put a link to her Instagram in the show notes. Sometimes it's just great to have inspiration elsewhere, but it's Christina Miros. And again, she was from Next Level Chef. On the Lose Weight by Eating website, I always keep them right there on the front of the website. The meal plans are always free. So I never take them down. There is almost a year's worth of weekly meal plans on the front page of the website. So you just go to loseweightbyeating.com and click on meal plans. And each week I post a new one. This coming week is a smoothie diet. So there's smoothies for breakfast, salads for lunch, and then healthy dinners that are low cost in there as well. But if those don't work for you, just scroll down a little bit more. There are, I would assume, close to 52, because that's how many weeks we have, about 52 different meal plans in there for you to choose. And they come with the recipes and everything. It's all done for you. It's so easy. And you can also get together with your friends and meal prep. That is such a great way to combine the meal prepping that you want to do so that you can eat at home, and the camaraderie and, getting together with your friends that you might be missing going out. So maybe you invite your friends over for a Sunday brunch and you guys meal prep your breakfasts and lunches after you've polished off that bottle of champagne. Just make it fun. But the whole goal here is to take a step back and realize that as a nation, we have started eating crap. For lack of a better word, I'm sorry, it's crap. And I am just as guilty as the next person. I love to eat out. And I think I will probably dive a little bit deeper into this, but restaurants they've got to keep their margins low. They need to make money. They have a big staff. They have to pay for the building. Very often, and I'm not knocking restaurants by any means, but very often they will get the cheapest available. So if your favorite local restaurant makes their own buns in-house and grinds their own meat for their burgers, and I'm like having a complete Bob's Burgers flashback right now thinking about all that, and if they cut their own fries, that's one thing. But a restaurant that gets everything from Cisco or one of those food trucks that come around, that stuff is packed full of preservatives and you're just not eating healthy. I challenge you to take a step back and think, is it really carbs and sugar that's the problem? Or is it something else? Is it something I can easily change? So I'm going to go back to my notes and I want to go over, if I can find them, the average weights. When 1940s hit, women on average weighed 134 pounds. They were eating carbs, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They were eating fruit or desserts, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Their average weight, again, was 134 pounds. Today, the average woman's weight in the United States is 171 pounds. Men, the average weight in 1940 was 166 pounds. Today, the average weight in the United States for a man is 199 pounds. So I don't see carbs and sugar as the problem, personally. If eating no carbs and sugar makes you feel better and is sustainable, that's one thing. Run with it if it's working for you. But if you've been struggling for years, and I saw a message yesterday, a woman saying, and this wasn't on my platform, she was responding to me on someone else's platform, so I'm going to keep everything out of it and kind of keep it buttoned up. She posted a comment to me and said, she was sitting at a grocery store crying the day before because she can't have dairy and she's on a keto diet and she was starving. She didn't know what to go in and buy. She was just perplexed. I don't know what to do. So instead of doing these fad diets, why not jump in your hot tub time machine and go on back to 1940s for 1 week and see how you feel eating healthy proteins, carbs, and an all-natural sugar. What do you have to lose? Well, I hope you've enjoyed this. Again, I'm Audrey Johns. You can find me on social media at Instagram. It's just at Audrey Johns. On Facebook, it's Lose Weight by Eating with Audrey Johns, and I respond to every single comment there. And you can also find my recipes and my free meal plans at loseweightbyeating.com. Please visit the website anytime. There's a search bar right up at the top, and you can just type in chicken, and all my chicken recipes will come up. So it's really helpful and easy. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I know that I will likely get a chunk of hate mail for this, and that's okay. I want to have a conversation with you. I don't want to shake my finger at you and tell you that you're doing things wrong. But if you are not finding success with the fad diets, or if they are not sustainable, let's rethink it. Because I personally do not think that carbs are the problem. I know that most people are talking about how sugar is bad, sugar is bad. Well, the reason why everyone's talking about that is not because strawberries are bad for you. It's because there is sugar in all processed foods, all across the board, or fake sugars, which is far worse because your body does not know how to process chemicals. So let's take a step back. Let's just reevaluate it and say, what do I think about this? If you think this is all hooey, that's cool. But if this has resonated with you, as it has resonated with me, take the 1 week challenge. See if you feel better just eating all natural foods and eating as we would have back in the 1940s. Again, I'm Audrey Johns with Lose Weight by Eating. I will put lots of links in the show notes for you, and make sure to check out all of my other podcast episodes. If this is your first time here, you might want to check out why I threw my bathroom scale away. It is my most popular podcast episode. I will put that in the show link as well, or in the show notes as well, so you can quickly jump on over there and find out why would a weight loss coach throw away her bathroom scale. I will see you guys all next week. If you are interested in more podcast fun, check out my Who's Reality Cooking podcast. It's WHO''S. And maybe even check out my interview with Christina Muros, as I had mentioned her before. I will see you all next week. Bye.